Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. How's everybody doing tonight? It is Wednesday. It is November 6th. We are past election season. Thank goodness. No more ads. I'm so happy. And yeah, I wanted to talk this evening about some moving to the area stuff. I got some people asking me a lot of questions about moving to the area and how to approach good strategy for the moving stage between coming here and getting settled. What to do about that whole process and this in the time frame. And now since it's November, it not isn't really the I'd say the consensus time that people think that it's a good time to buy. uh, a lot of times, people are planning around different specific times of the year. So you think, well, I don't want to buy during the middle of like right in the middle of a season where it's not convenient, right? So I want to talk to you about some of that and give you some advice as to what to do, how to strategize, and how to plan from when you're moving from where you are to the area. And on top of that, some thoughts about what I think the market is going to do and if now is a good time to buy or if waiting might be a good time to buy. And I really don't like the idea of always saying now is a good time to buy because I think that comes across as disingenuous, right? I want to just say what I think is true. And so sometimes it's not the right time to buy. That should be okay to say. And I think it's true a lot of times. So I want to talk about like the should you not, all that kind of stuff. So first I'm going to ask anybody, hey, where are you guys watching from? Please let me know in the comments. And if you can't make a comment, I want to be able to change it so that you can do that. I think you may have to log into your username to be able to comment. I'm not sure if that's the case. If that is the case, I'm going to try and see if I can make a way around that for the next time. But for now, I think you may have to sign into your YouTube username to do that. So a little housekeeping there. But yeah, where are you watching from? I'm very interested to hear. I know a lot of people this is the season where some people are coming from all across the world because they're going to be that's military transfer season. So and Kempsville area. Okay, you're already here. That's cool. So a lot of people coming from out of the country, some people come from out of state, like California is a very popular place, San Diego, New York, all those places too. Georgia, a lot of people from Colorado, Washington State, Texas, Florida, and even some from the Midwest. And I'll talk to people from all over the country and really all over the world. So just curious to hear your where you're coming from and how long you plan on staying in the area and all that kind of stuff. So feel free to comment below about all that stuff. Oh, there you go. Hey, you're in Newport News. Okay, cool. Very cool. Newport News. So feel free to comment below about all that. But I want to first start, my actual thought process here about talking about the general market and what I think is happening right now, because there are some new stats that have come out just in the last couple of days that are showing a indication of where the market was in October and what that might look like for November. We'll talk about that. Marcella, hey Marcella, West Virginia, nice, West Virginia. I've only been to West Virginia one time. I was in Wheeling. Actually, I drove cross country from Seattle through the north part of the country and went through West Virginia and was in Wheeling. I thought Wheeling was really great. Anyway, thank you for watching. Very, very cool. And so let me show you first of all, let me show you the stats. I'm going to share my screen with you and show you the price range of Virginia Beach houses in October. And this is Kinfolk, West Virginia. That's cool. Very fun. I love the Kinfolk. All right. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see what the stats in 1980 in October look like. Okay, so we got $450,000. This is the median sales price of Virginia Beach single family houses in 2024 in October. This just came out. Okay, there's a few things to note here. Number one is, go back here. One is you can see that see where it says 450. Well, you see that there's a trend over the last several years, and really it's kind of over the last forever, is that there are peaks and valleys every year with high and low median sales prices. So there's some element of variance here when it comes to is each month a good or bad time to buy a house, for example, because I like to use these numbers in this graph to help me determine what the next few months might look like. So number one is going to be that you can't really take any specific month to make an assumption as to what that month will be cyclically exactly, but you can see general trends about different seasons. So I've mentioned this before, as you can see that at the beginning of every year, there's see 2024-01, 2024-12, 2024-02, 2023 1 February is December, 2022 December. You got the 2021 2001 December, and then 2022 January. You see that for every year, the lowest prices of that given year are at the end of the previous year or the beginning of the next year. So that's usually December, January, February. Now, why is that? Well, some potentially obvious reasons is that it's just not a time that people want to buy, right? And that's logical. And it's also in the middle of the school year. People that want to move for school, it's you want to move later towards the springtime, which you go into the five. Let's see where we go. 3, 4, the fifth month of May of 2023, June 2023. That's where the peak of that year usually goes, and goes into the next year. So here we go. What's the peak of this year? May of 2024, right? Same kind of thing. So the springtime and the early summertime is usually the peak, the highest for that given year of median sales prices. So that trajectory, that price range does kind of trend in that direction, but then it recedes in different parts of the year too. Now, as I mentioned, now we're in the time of year where we're starting that trend downward. We've been in that trend downward. Okay, so then the interesting thing here is that zooming in, see, there's, let me go back. Did I just, what I should have done? I shouldn't have done that. No, I did it. Let's see. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to cross all this out. I got so much data here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Okay, there we go. So it should be 450. There we go. Okay, so you see this line right here? It bounces up, right? Well, you're like, well, Sam, we just talked about fall being the least active time of year, so prices should be going down. Why is it going up? Okay, well, what you see here is that every year you do see a very similar bump in the middle to end of fall, somewhere in that range for a month, maybe 2 months. Last year it was October to November, and then the year before that, let's see, it was actually before that was September, and then before that it was October, November, and then it bounced down again, then it shot back up. And then before that, it was bumped up in November. Well, that means if for example, the 2010 or 2024 10th month, that means that's the last month, which means that the houses were purchased the month before that. So that means that September's house purchases led to October's closings, generally speaking, right? So that means that in September, the demand went up a little bit relative to the August, the month before that. But then for every year, there's usually 1 or 2 months in the fall time period where you will see, it will feel like, here we go, November, which means October was a bump. Before that, let's go, there's a bump up into November and December, or October, November. In 2014, I'm just picking random months at this time. You'll see that happens pretty much every year. Why is that? Okay, well, this part of this goes back to the cyclical dynamic, but in the cyclical dynamic, there are different factors in play. There's always the school system variable where people will make decisions based on their kids, and when their kids get out of school, it's just easier to do it all at the same time. Get them out of schools, transition them into school for the following year, before get them into the next house before the school system starts, all that kind of stuff. Well, that means that usually June, May, great time to buy or sell, whatever. Okay. Well, then you go into even the end of the summertime, where there's people that want to make a big push to close on a house before their school system starts, which would mean, for example, August, closing in August, July, because they want to be able to close before they start school. And then once you get past July into August, it's like, okay, well, if I can't really get what I want before the actual time starts, I'm not going to force it. I'll just kind of maybe I'll get an Airbnb. I'll get something short term to float me until I get the right house. Well, then there's the next level, which is buying before the end of the year. And that could be because people are trying to transition from the place that they're living currently and then moving. Um, they have to sell their house maybe before the end of the year. It's a job related thing. That's they're sending them to this area from a different part of the country, and maybe there's a cyclical dynamic there that they're working around. And also, the school season stops in the middle of the year for December, for the Christmas holiday or Thanksgiving holidays. So being able to do stuff, move stuff around, move things in that time of year can also be helpful too. So what often happens is there is almost every year, somewhere around the October timeframe, things get busy for about a month, month and a half. And that could be September, October, November, a couple of months, it gets really busy. And I think that part of that comes to, from my experience, that whole dynamic of I need to find something before the end of the year, or I've got, I'm trying to make decisions within the confines of time off that I have so I can move within that time frame. So I think that happens every year. And so that leads me to back to this graph again. Okay, so we had a bump up in the September closings in 2024. So what do I think is going to happen between now and the end of the year? I think that something similar will happen again. Not taking some hot take here. It's looking at the same data, right? And so I think that between comments, sorry, I'm looking at, oh, cool. Flatwoods. I don't know anything about West Virginia, so I'm guessing that's for West Virginia. So I think that between now and the end of the year, we will either get no more bumps up in value, or one more bump up. And I can tell you based on what I'm seeing in the market right now, as to what I think that's going to be. So I think right now we're in the first part of November, and caveat, we've got an election that just happened yesterday. And a lot of people think, well, okay, should I wait for the election? I think there's a kind of a false start. If you're into football, it's a false start. I think that people make decisions or think that decisions are often made around the election, when I don't personally think that happens. I think that if you're looking back at the data, go back every 4 years. Tell me something that has changed in the time periods of an election that affects housing that much. The prices, at least, that has changed that much drastically, unique to any other year. There was a drop in 2012, I guess. I guess in 2008 the crash happened in 2008. So I guess that may have been part of that. Was then that was that unique situation. I don't think there's been enough consistency to make me think that an election has created enough change in the market of housing. Why? Because people live their lives. People live their lives independently of what they see on, the election happens. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. That's just life, right? If I focus on moving your family as opposed to what the leader of the free world's going to look like. So I'm not trying to be political here. I'm just saying that I think that people get more focused on their own lives, and that's why you don't see too much change in the actual numbers. Now, what people think when they sell a house compared to what people think when they buy a house can be different. Reason I say that is because some people, when they sell a house, might be thinking, oh my gosh, I have the election involved. I'm gonna have to be careful about selling my house around the election. I'm not convinced that that's necessary, but if you're a buyer, you can use that to your advantage to say, well, hey, you maybe come in on a house, come in a little bit cheaper than you would have because you can afford to, and they might think that they might not have any other opportunities to sell that house between now and the end of the year. Take advantage of that, offer a little bit less. Boom, you got yourself a better deal, even when those numbers look like they're going down or they're going up. So that being said, going back to this chart, while we don't know if the prices will go up and down too much, I do see some trends that are very weird right now. And so number one is that I'm seeing some houses that are sitting, and they probably shouldn't be sitting, houses that would have had multiple offers 2-3 years ago, and they've been sitting for 2-3 weeks. Great houses have been sitting. On the flip side, I just witnessed a house in Kempsville that listed $400,000, so a little in that kind of that meaty range, 13 offers. Okay, well, they may have underpriced it. I think they've been underpriced it just a little bit, but the point is that happens still in this market. So you can't come into this market thinking that you're the only kid on the block when it comes to making offers. There are people out there, and they are looking, and they are ready to buy. And people that are ready to buy or that are looking in this time period usually they've got a plan in place because it's like, this is not the time I really want to buy. So if I am, I'm going to go for it. So my point, I guess, is to say that you got to factor in that there are some weird pricing things happening here. I think the houses that are the ones that are going over asking price, or at least that are selling quickest, are the ones that are a little more conservative with their listing prices, which, okay, so that makes sense. Okay, well, that means that if you list a house that's cheaper, you're going to get more people that are interested in it. Makes sense. But even if you tweak it a little bit down, like even if you had a house that's 500, listed for 485, you might get some people ready to jump, because here's the other problem is there still aren't a lot of houses on the market. It's growing. It is growing, but not at a fast pace. I'm going to show you how many average median days in the market. Number one, right now it's 15. Well, if you notice that 15 in the market, last year it went up as high as 28 in November, 13, 22, 28. The year before that, even the end of the crazy year, 12 was the top of the average days on market in November. So granted, I will say that does tell me, I'm sorry, 12 and 21. So that does tell me that there's a perception of how the market was 2 years ago that's not too much different than the way it was now. Granted, that's when rates went up. Rates went up right about here. Boom. And that's what affected the days on market. Here's the other problem, though, is that if you notice, let's go back to the mortgage rates. This is the average mortgage rates over the course of 25 years, okay? Zooming in here, you're going to see something. Notice when the rates jumped up, we're at 2.8, 2.3, boom. In a matter of 5 months, it goes up to 5, 6, 7. It's almost 8 up in the end of 23. That change was so fast. Anybody that plans to sell their house that bought it in this time period, 2021, 2019, 18, even before that, in the threes and refinance into the 2s or 3s, buying a house with a 6 or 7% interest rate, or now it's over 7, I think. Ask your loan officer, but it's a big, if you want to say delta between both of those numbers. That's several $100s a month in mortgage payment difference for the exact same house. So it's going to take, I think it's going to take at least a couple more years for the amount of people that I think need to list their houses to create more of a balanced market. I think you need much more people to list their houses in knowing that they have to suck it up and say, well, I've got to sell my house even though my rate was 3%. I'm going to buy a 7% rate house on the other end. There just aren't enough people that are willing to do that. And that is also illustrated by the, where is it? Month supply of inventory. 1.8. Okay. So that means that if no houses were listed now, it would take 1.8 months to sell all the houses on the market. Well, if you look in the last 2 years, it's pretty much stayed the same. I mean, there's been a cyclical pattern here going up to that would be September numbers 2022 or October, November numbers 2023. And now we're going to be probably going up to maybe in October, November, bouncing that up, I think, again, one more time. I think we're going to find ourselves to a peak just over the 2023 numbers. So my point here is that we're still, a healthy market. We're sitting here in the 3s and 4s and even 5s in this range. We don't have too many houses in the market still relative to how many I think we need to get a more balanced market. Now it still feels like you can get it's more of a buyer's market than it used to be, which it is, but it's still not the way it could be. And so going back to median sales price, that's why I say, if you're trying to find a house right now, if it were me, St. Louis, awesome. I have clients that are moving from St. Louis. Very cool. If it were me, I would always look at this in two different ways. I'm always about looking at how I see the market and then how I think other people are seeing the market. Because how I think other people are seeing the market affects what I think I can get, right? So I think people are a little bit worried about just, okay, it's election time, it's slow. Okay, can I sell my house? If I'm thinking about it from a buyer's perspective, looking at from what a seller is thinking, they're probably thinking it's going to be hard to sell the house. It's November. It's not going to get any easier. November goes into December real fast and then goes into January through the holidays. That time period is a very hard time to sell a house. That's a narrative that's true, but it's not always true because it depends on the house, right? And the situation. So you can take that and say, okay, well, if I really want a specific house, I might need to be aggressive. Very true. But I might be able to get a better deal than I ever thought I could get because the people that are selling the house might feel like they've just got to go. And especially if you go over about 7 or 8 days in the market, that's when you can find those that desire, that interest to sell increases, especially after the second weekend of a listing. So a person often lists their house on a Thursday or a Friday, and they hope, okay, I'm going to get the right offer on the first weekend. Then they don't. Then it goes into Monday, Tuesday, all the way through the week. Okay, no, the second time around, this is the time. Got some calls, we're good. That second week, nothing. Now it's a matter of, did I miss something? Did I miss the market? Question stuff comes up like, I don't want to miss the market. I don't want to drop I don't want to lose my house for nothing. These things start coming into people's minds. Now they're starting to think, okay, well, the door is getting cracked. Should I sell my house for a little bit less than I thought? And that's when you can go in and offer lower. And especially if you see a house that has been listed for, I would say 3 weeks or longer, and the price hasn't changed since then. My suggestion is to make an offer low enough to where you think they might take it, but it would be lower than the reduced price that they might next change their house to if they drop the price. Meaning, as soon as they drop a price, that could be that time where it triggers interest in people when they're listing a house. But if you can make an offer less than that, you will have potentially gotten them to say yes to your offer before they drop the price, which could have then triggered other buyers to make other offers that may have bumped the price up again. So that's where, if you can get the house that you like, offer a little bit less than you think that the price reduction might come to, you can beat other people to the punch and get a better deal. That's another thing I think people don't often think about when it comes to strategizing on how to make an offer. So, do I think now is a good time to buy? Okay. First caveat is it depends on the person. And it's like, all right, Sam, why do you keep telling me it's good? It depends on the person. It does, because if your circumstances are such that it makes it maybe emotionally, family related, too complicated right now to buy, finances and money in the context of whatever you're doing, it's not everything. And I'm not saying don't care about money. I'm saying it's one piece of an entire puzzle, which is your life. So if you feel like, hey, I'm making a bad decision by rushing things, I understand that. If you feel like, hey, it's just not a good time right now for us. A lot of things happening with our lives. Totally get that too. Okay. Comments? Oh, is there a difference between in a house and condo market in that regard? I will talk about that. Great question, SJH. Excuse me. Hi, Sam. Hi, Katy, Texas. Very cool. I don't have any friends there, but I know people that are around you. Very cool. I'll answer your question, SJH, and I'll finish this thought and I'll go into that. So, what was I saying to that? So if you don't think it's a good time for you, then by all means, don't do it. Strictly from a market perspective, between now and the middle of December, almost the end of December, almost even the beginning, well, I'd say the end of December, great time to buy from the standpoint of getting the best opportunity for a deal if at all possible. The problem lies is that because it's this time of year, there just aren't as many houses on the market. And a lot of the best houses on the market don't list in this time of year. So if you get a good one, great. But sometimes you'll be looking and you're like, I can't find that perfect house. That's possibly because that perfect house is waiting until April or May to list. That happens a lot. So, that's often why you might see also some median sales prices dropping in this time of the year, because people don't always sell a house in a higher price range in this time of year because school season and all that stuff. So, if it's $800,000 house, not the ideal time if it's a 5-bedroom, 3,500 square foot house, because it's just not as many people want to do that. So you just don't find as many houses like that on the market in this time period. But if you do, this is a good time to go after it because there just aren't that many on the market. There aren't that many people looking for those types of things. So again, back to, it's always, I should take this off. You're like, okay, like, why do you keep showing me this graph, Sam? And the answer is because I'm all up in talking to you. I forget about it. I'm sorry. But point is that take advantage of the time period if you can. But if you don't, it's not the end of the world. You will most likely pay more later. That's just the market. It's, that's how it works. That is also potentially okay. I might also possibly saying, well, I might be encouraging you to make I don't want to say a irresponsible decision. Like, oh, well, you're paying more than you need to. But at the same time, there are just a lot of factors involved with a decision like this. And I don't want you to feel like this is the only time you should do it. So I do think that if you need to wait, again, the best time to find a house, the most options, we're going to be mostly between March, April, May, June. But if you don't want to wait that long, this is a good time just because there just aren't as many people that are willing to find a house in this time period. So I would strongly suggest it if you can to look at it right now. So Dark Plateau, what would you say is the best area for a foodie or a moviegoer? Ooh, another good question. Interesting question. Let me answer SJH's question first. Is there a difference in the house and condo market in that regard? Time on market, yes, absolutely. As a general rule, you'll find that condos are going to sit on the market longer than single family houses, and even condos more so than townhouses. Now, condos are not always condos are not always attached houses. And now one thing about condos is it's the type of ownership of the house, not the actual structure of the house that it is. So you can have a condo that's an apartment style condo. You can have a condo that's a townhouse looking condo, like those row houses. You can have a condo that's a single detached single family house that is a condo. Like, for example, Hickory Manor is a neighborhood in the south part of Chesapeake that they look great online. The houses look awesome and they're relatively new. The problem is that they are condos and you don't own almost a majority of the land on where the house is located. So that doesn't, just because it's a single family house does not mean it does not have to be a condo. It can be a condo for sure. So let's say, so going back to difference in price. Yeah. This is, again, I think if you can get it, if you're going after a condo, is that the question? Are you going after a condo or a single family house? Going after a condo, I mean, when any time of the year where there is a lag in sales, usually that also can mean that there's a lag in condo sales too, which can mean a better deal. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the time of year, I think, but in general, yeah, I think you'll find that if a house, goes off the market on a weekend, it might take a week or two for that condo to sell. That's one of the drawbacks to condos, I think, is just the mindset of condos. So let's start over. I like condos because I think they get a bad rap because condos, you got the condo fee, you got the association, you got people watching over you and talking, all this stuff. Well, at the same time, the reason why those fees exist is to make your life easier. So yes, there are annoyances involved with condos, but at the same time, there are a lot of things you don't have to do anymore. Sometimes condo fees pay for water. Well, okay, you would be paying for water anyway. So your condo fee went up because you are paying for water through the condo fee. Okay, well, let's just pretend you didn't have a condo fee. You're still paying for water, So now you're just paying it to the condo association. Insurance, same thing. You'd be paying that in separately. So sometimes these condo fees make up items. They make up items or composed of items that you would be paying for in other ways separately if you bought a single family house. So that's one of the things. There are other things involved that, I think condos can get a bad rap, but some of it depends on the condo association itself and the location. Big deal. It's a great hack to get a condo or a townhouse in a neighborhood that is then more in demand, or the school district or whatever, because that's a way to get the right school district or location you want. But you'd be sacrificing, again, the condo, the attached living, smaller lot, that kind of stuff. It's a drawback, but the drawback can pay off because you can get a great location. So generally speaking, though, single family houses almost always sell faster. Just more people are looking for them. So best area for foodie or moviegoer? Foodie, I would say Ghent. Yeah, Ghent. You get a lot of the restaurant per block there is pretty high. Great restaurants over there. I mean, you got from places like Bird and Baldwin in downtown Norfolk, which is real upscale, over to like, street food over on Colonial Avenue or Colley Avenue, excuse me. Good pizza. Peck and Pour is a good restaurant. I mean, there's a bunch of restaurants up and down Colley Avenue, Colonial Avenue, 21st Street. There are several places. I can show you in the map if you want. That's probably number one. And because part of the thing is Virginia Beach is pretty spread out. You could say, well, Town Center has a lot of restaurants. There are a lot of chains. I just don't think chains is a place I would go all out to go live near just for the sake of doing it, So where is the thing? Show you the thing. So anybody that does not know or not familiar with Ghent, there we go. There's Ghent right. Where we at? There we go. So West Ghent, close on the side, Hampton Boulevard. There's some great restaurants in West Ghent near Chelsea. Beer places. Smart Mouth is right there. I should show you. Oh, you know what? A friend of mine, I'm just going to show you this. A friend of mine is an artist, and he got hooked up with, he does artwork for Smart Mouth, which is, you see where Smart Mouth is right there. And so he did a artist rendering of Friends for the Friends 30th anniversary. That's his drawing. I don't know if you can see it. Is it going to change? It doesn't do it. My camera doesn't focus. Anyway, it's called a How You Doing Hazy IPA. Got it from Smart Mouth. No one's paying me to do that. I just thought it was really cool. And that's Smart Mouth Brewing. I picked it up when it came out. Anyways, so great restaurants around West Ghent and also in Central Ghent. Gogi Guys, a great one right there, like a Korean barbecue place, a family style sitting situation. Best unlimited or best all you can eat sushi, which I usually don't like all you can eat sushi because it usually isn't good quality. But where is it? Where'd it go? Sorry guys, I'm losing. Bangkok Garden, Volcano. Sorry, there we go. Volcano Sushi. I don't like eating a lot of the sit-down restaurant sushi, not because I don't like it. I love sushi. It's because it doesn't fill me. And it's very hard for me to find a good sushi place that's also all you can eat. That's, to me, the best one that I think out there. And I'm dovetailing into very big details about food, but you got a lot of stuff in Ghent. But if you go into Town Center, this is cool. Got a lot of stuff going on there, but it's a lot of chains. There's Ruby Tuesday. There is the Shake Shack. There is this PF Chang's, the Cheesecake Factory. Bleh, come on, So the other place for foodies would be closer to Hilltop. There's some good restaurants over near Hilltop. But sprinkled through the entire city of Virginia Beach, there's a lot of restaurants, just good restaurants in Chesapeake. So there's not a great spot just for a central location except for Ghent there. And moviegoer, I do like the Norva that's over, or I'm sorry, the Nero that's over in Ghent also. Like, hey, Sam, stop talking about Ghent. But the reality is Ghent's pretty cool, but there's the Nero. It's a very unique little, like, old refurbished theater, a lot of old run movies. I think it's fun. They do the Oscar nominated films every year, and you can see the nominated films every March, I believe. I guess it would be March or February. It's a fun place, and I'll drop a pin. There it is. And I think they're renovating it, or they're redoing the outside. So every Friday, I think it's Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is kind of fun. Well, I don't go. I'm not a big Rocky Horror Picture Show fan, but for those who like to partake. Otherwise, I don't know. Rest of that, movies. I think the best theater elsewhere is probably Lynnhaven at this point. Lynnhaven Mall. I mean, I wouldn't even consider that a place I would focus just for that sake, though. the other great theater for a while was in MacArthur Center, which was in downtown Norfolk. That was not anymore. It's a shame. It's nothing like it used to be. So I don't know. This isn't a huge, unique, fun movie theater type of place, or at least I'm not too aware of them because I don't watch enough movies out in the open, out in the wild. Anyway, yes, thinking Condo for second home. Okay, yeah. So you get some good deals. I would, even the best locations though are still going to probably cost. It might feel like you're paying more than you should because it's like, well, I'm paying buying a condo. Why am I being aggressive for this condo? Well, again, locations are going to still be the biggest driving factor, right? Of any value of any house. So when I start doing Uber Eats and DoorDash, I should do that area. Oh, Ghent, you mean? Or you mean town center because people are tired of all the chains? I don't know. I guess either. Oh, Cinema Cafe. Hey, S. Cabrera. Great point. There are a couple of cinema cafes. One is in Kemps River. So over Witch Duck, Whitehurst. There it is. Fairfield, right? Kroger. Where are we at? Nope. There we go. Cinema Cafe. There it is. Right there. There's also one. There was one further up that closed down. And then also, I think one now in Hampton. So there are, and I think one in also, yeah, further down into the Hickory area down south here. There's one right there. Yep. See, still got it. I know my map. Okay. So that's down in South Hickory. That's close to the Hickory Manor area I was talking about, those condos, those sneaky single family condos. It's a great part of town. Edinburgh, very new. If you want like anything around 800 to 1.5, Edinburgh is a neighborhood that's right outside of here near Hickory Manor. This is all going to be, that's all rural, but you got some really nice houses all around through Hillcrest Parkway. Real nice neighborhood over here. So this is kind of like the line where you're starting to see, suburbs being built, but it's all country down here. I did a video recently about neighborhoods with acreage. Try to do a very extensive one about all different parts of South Chesapeake primarily that have a lot of these types of neighborhoods that are 3 acres, 2 acres, 1 acre type lots with bigger houses on them. So there's a lot of those in this South Chesapeake part of town. So I think that's okay. So back to the concept. Hey, should you buy right now? It depends, right? I would say if you are able to, I would do it between now and then the end of the year, because I think the deals are going to be there relative to what they would be in March, April, May, June. That's when I always say in this time of year, but you just have fewer options. It's got to be factored into it as well. We got our house in and around November, like the late November. I think we closed in the 3rd week of December. So I'm talking about exactly what we did. When we bought our house in 2020, that's when we found ours. And I think we got a better deal because of it. So I'm a big fan of it. So any more questions, feel free. If you're planning to relocate to the area, this is what I do. So I'm a big fan of helping people to move to this area. I like the whole process. I like trying to educate people into the area, the local area, in a way that maybe they would be plopped here and had no concept. I want people to feel comfortable, right? And that's why I make these videos, is because it's a very big area. See how big, look how big this map is. It's so many, there's the cities, 7 cities, but it's a big land size, all these roads, right? There's a lot going on, and it can feel overwhelming, and it's hard to get your bearings quickly because there's so much going on. And even for me, a local, I grew up here, and there are parts of the area that I still have a hard time remembering which way to turn. And even for me, the one I think I'm one of the best at knowing the map. I feel like I'm one of the best, and even I can struggle in very specific spots of the area. So that's something I like to be able to help. I like to be able to help people to feel confident in where they're moving to. What it does is it accelerates that home feel. It makes it, you feel like you're not just a visitor living long-term in someone else's area. You now can, in a faster way, feel like you are at home. those grocery stores that make you feel like, you're at home, the restaurants, those shopping spots, the roads that you'd be frequenting more often, where your work is, like just knowing those basic things so you can get a lay of the land as to what normal can look like for you. That's what I want to be able to help you get to and find those spots for you, help you find those spots, where it's your favorite grocery store. We got Harris Teeter, we got Kroger, we got Wegmans, we got Food Lion, we've got Publix now is coming more involved here. We've got Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, we got Costco, the discount places, lots of those types of mom and pop grocery stores, international food stores. I'm throwing all kinds of places out there. My point is that based on what you like, I might be able to say, hey, you might want to focus over here, because if you want to shop at Wegmans, you want to be within 10 minutes of Wegmans, then you got these specific neighborhoods, that kind of thing. So I like talking through all that kind of stuff because that's my life. I breathe this every day because I drive and I'm around all the time, and we haven't moved. I love this area. So, oh yeah, sorry, I'm sitting here talking about random stuff. As a local, I'm on the peninsula, so I don't know too much about the South Side movie theaters. Very fair, reasonable. IMAX in Hampton, great. That's a great theater. I watched Avatar, the first Avatar, and IMAX in Hampton. That was a great experience. Well, that floating Hampton Newport News end of town, huh? Well, that floating Hampton Newport News end of town. You mean the edge of it? Oh, that's what you know the most. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So I think that's good for now. If you have any questions, I have my contact information in the description. Here's my phone number. My phone number is here. My name is Sam Sansalone, if you didn't know. So samsansalone.com. This is my name. You can go on my website if you want to. My email address, that's my email address. So all these, sam@samsansalone.com, www.samsansalone.com if you want to look at houses. That's me, Sam Sansalone. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can email me, you can call me, you can text me. I love talking about this stuff. And if you have any questions that want to relocate to the area, let me know. And I'd love to be able to try and help you. And yeah, that's it. And we are just past almost 9:15, and it is time for me to help my wife with our new baby, which has been wonderful and also lots of work. And so it's time for me to do that. And because of that, I will then see you on the next video coming up next week, every Wednesday, every Wednesday, which, by the way, it will be 6 years. It will have been 6 years in January since we started making these videos in this channel. This 6 years has been the best 6 years ever. Thanks everybody for your support. And if you want to reach out, want to relocate to the area, let me know. And I got my contact information, and I will see you next week on the next video.